What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we are back for another episode of our new segment, Shop Talk. Man, we just really gonna be sitting here chopping up about sports as we all typically do anyway. But more specifically, on this episode, we are going to dive deep into the Damian Lillard trade and the fallout or all the repercussions of it, the ripple effect it had on the league, if you will. But we can start with Dame to Milwaukee. Both of y'all just give me y'all take on what this move means for Dame, what it means for Giannis, and what it means for the Bucks organization or as a team.
Let's have our lovely guests start. Take it away, Akers.
Thank you, sir. I'll go in order of how you put them. What it means for Dame, it's quite simply put, is his real only chance in the league to go compete for a championship. Everything else in the league, he's pretty much done except MVP. So I think that this gives him an opportunity to really establish himself among those elite point guards. You know, like he has the numbers, he has the talent to be there. If he could get a chip in Milwaukee with Giannis, even if it's not, you know, like I said, on his back, if he doesn't get finals MVP, just the fact that he has that ring, that accolade, and then he's going to still play a really big part in winning that ring. I think for his legacy, it is the biggest boost that he could get. Like I said, it cements him in greatness if he could get a ring. For the Bucks, for the city, for Giannis, I guess you say Giannis first. For Giannis, I've told you guys off camera, I think that as great as Giannis is, I think we're finally about to get to see the best version. Now that nobody can build that wall, now that he has somebody that he's playing with, that, like I said, I think the only person that in the NBA compliments Giannis more than Dame is Steph. So to have only one person, and like I said, in my opinion, I think that's the perfect Robin to his Batman. Everything that Giannis doesn't do well, Dame does at a very high level. It's given him a chance he was already our modern version of Shaq, that unstoppable title. You got somebody that could shoot it from the half court line. You run a high screen and roll with those guys. I mean, we've all played basketball. Me and Miguel coached the game. What do you do with that? You got Giannis rolling to the rim. You got Brooke, Middleton, and Miguel out there. You could throw him out there because he could shoot too. There's no way that you can help. So we're about to see a version of him that the league hasn't seen, that I honestly think the league is about to be terrified of. A little bit more back to the basket. Giannis, the ball out of his hand. He's not going to be dribbling outside the 3-point line. And then for the city, I mean, I live here. It's already exploded. You know, when Dame got here, the Pfizer was lit. Everybody's already getting ready. Like, they already talking about it. This our chip year, you know. So for what it does for them, I also think it really kind of, I hate to see him go, of course, and we'll touch on that later. But
yep,
I think Jrue served his purpose. You know, Jrue came here to help us win a championship, and we won a championship. And with Giannis been rumbling about, of course, I want to stay in Milwaukee, but I want to compete. I think the organization had to make some type of move to show him, like, yeah, we got your back. You say you want to compete, we gonna show you we gonna compete, and we'll move players whether we love them. And again, like I said, we'll touch it. I love Jrue, but Dame is better. And what Dame can bring to the city, Jrue never could. So I think it turns us up even more than we've already been turned up the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's all well put. I won't go in order because I don't remember all of them in that specific order, but just in terms of what it means to have Dame in Milwaukee, I think we've always asked to have, you know, a Batman Robin, and we had our version, you know, our blue collar version, to say the least. It's like when your mom kind of says, we got McDonald's at home, and it's it's nice, it's serviceable, it'll get the job done, you'll live, but you want more. You want that salty fry. You see it on the TV, it looks all good, it's hot sometimes, depending on which one you go to, but there's still more to be desired. And I think with Dame, we haven't seen a superstar pairing like this since Bron and Wade. Since that era, I think, in terms of like two superstars that are arguably top 10, like Kyrie, KD, scratching that too in terms of star power and all that. But, we didn't have a completely healthy KD, and we didn't have a completely in the league Kyrie. Like in terms of situation and positioning and how they coexist with each other, I think this is the most natural pairing we've seen in a very long time that hasn't come through drafting or trying to build, the right team. This is just, one trade away and kind of putting the pieces together that look like it's a match made in heaven. Like you said, a high pick and roll with Dame and Giannis. You don't even have to have Giannis there. You could have him roaming corner and Brooks sets that screen and rolls. There's so many options that we have on this team now. Chris has, and I think you talked about it yesterday. It's like you were worried about, like, can Chris be healthy enough to get this done? Like, we need him as an integral piece. And I think we can play him the least minutes that we've ever played him. Like, we have so many wings that we can interchange with and go with the more defensive mindset that, he could just spot up. Like, I think you said it when we were talking shop off cam a while ago, where it's just like, not to say that he is KD, but in terms of what KD's role was with Golden State, we can see much more of that, where he's just kind of roaming the court. No one really is going to be paying attention to him all that much, with eyes on Dame, eyes on Giannis. This might be the most effortless basketball that Chris Middleton has had to play since ever, because he's been already top in the league in contested mid-range since Kobe, like since Dirk, stats-wise, when he was like in his prime, in his bag down there. But it's going to be interesting to see. Like, we just have to see a healthy team. I feel like that's the only caveat in terms of what can hinder a season, is a fully healthy team. But I think as long as we have the pieces we have and can sacrifice time on the court for health for those last 20 games of the season to get right, the sky is the limit with this team. It's very, it's palpable. You could feel it. Every interview that Dame has, we're sitting there listening to every word about, like, oh yeah, like, if they have to cover Giannis, I'm a sniper. If they're gonna be cool with me hitting 9 threes, then so be it. Like, it's a different energy down here. Like,
yeah. Anything you want to add about Giannis's legacy or Dame's legacy specifically?
I think Giannis's legacy it's on the same track. It could change Dame's trajectory drastically in terms of what his career looks like, because he's been talked about as just like, a high volume scorer that's grown a beard over 11 years. Like, he has no hardware to really put to his status and who he is as a player. No, but now I'm just parroting the Twitter heads.
The beard comment was just so unrelated and so unnecessary to your point.
I don't feel that way, but people say this. That's hater talk, I want Dame to be a hate survivor. I want him to be, triumphant in his narrative, because he deserves to have that story with how much he's done for, a team that he sacrificed so much for 11 years, where they gave him one all-star that he was drafted with, and not even throughout his career giving him players of this caliber that he can actually achieve something crazy with. I think if he gets, 2 chips, the narrative completely flips on Dame, and now you're talking about him being one of the best guards that's ever played this game, because skill set wise, between him and Steph, it's comparable. It's just ring talk at the end of the day that I think separates one from another, and also MVP talk. But now what was keeping Dame from having that was having a winning season. Let's see what the talk is. I think it's going to go more towards Giannis in terms of that because I feel like the game gets easier. We'll probably see even better splits from him, bless you, in terms of like field goal percentage because he's got to do far less. He doesn't have to muscle through as many bodies because now the court gravity is completely different. Like you have to have eyes on everyone now. So bless you. That's about it. That's all I got.
I think that's I don't want to say as harsh as like vulgar as like a stupid narrative, but I don't get the narrative of players being wrong for like I don't
Trying to better their situation.
yeah, bro, like I should want to play with good players if I want to beat really good teams. Like I'm not saying I need all of them, but nobody wins by themselves. That's such a garbage
False narrative.
Like you can't win by yourself, especially not in professional sports. Like in professional sports, you got to come from the top down. Like the owners, the GMs, the coaches, everybody has to be on the court. It's not just, oh, we have the best player in the league, so we should automatically win. That's not how it works. And then Qualls, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I don't think that they asked for this publicly, but I think behind a lot of closed doors, both Dame and Giannis wanted this.
Oh, there was some smoke screens for sure. I think
I think the league did a really good job at upholding both of their reputations. You know, as players, like, okay, Dame wanted to be his big thing was loyalty. They traded me. You know what I'm saying? Like I rescinded my offer. They traded me. That's the narrative to the public. And then Giannis the same way. Like Giannis, the very next day the media was, oh yeah, Giannis didn't even know that this was happening. It's like, yeah, you could say that, but no organization has a megastar like that and moves a needle without them knowing. Like if we're hiring a new engineering staff, we're letting start.
And he let him know through the media, like, oh yeah, like they gotta show me that they want to win now.
So I don't disagree, but I do think that the front office went about it a little bit differently. I don't think it was as clear cut as Giannis, are you okay with this? I do think that they made a decision before saying, hey, this is a decision we made. I don't think you can be too mad at us. But I say all that to say, I don't think this was a situation where you could let Giannis decide. Like communicating is one thing, but I don't think this is a situation where you could let Giannis decide because just given history, Giannis has been like extremely loyal. So it's like I could see him saying, I don't want to trade Jrue. Like I don't want Jrue to be gone.
Yes.
You know,
like he did with Jason Kidd's bum ass.
Like I could see him saying, I don't like, Jrue is my brother, like Chris is my brother. Like I'd rather and like don't bring another superstar in. That's kind of been the narrative that's been made about him. So, but as an organization, I'm like, okay, you love Jrue, but Dame gives us a little bit of a better shot at a ring that you say you want. So we doing this for you and we gonna let you know after the fact. So I do think there's some truth to like this not being like Giannis not being included in the decision making part of it. But to that point though, I know that they both wanted this, and I think that they both deserve this because as y'all said, or as you were saying, Akers, this is not a league where you have 30 teams and each team has one of the 30 best players in the league. That's just not how the league is set up. So if you are a great player, you probably need another great player or at least another really, really good player, to have a shot at winning a championship, because there are at least 4 or 5 other teams that have arguably 2 top 30 players in this league. So like you said, you can't do it alone. So yeah, I think that narrative will get shut down very early. I think the expectations will be high, obviously, because of where they're both at in their careers. Not only from a skill set standpoint, but also just what their trajectories and their narratives are. So the expectations will be high, but I think they'll answer it. And like we talked offline yesterday, they at least are getting 1. I very much think they can get 2 in the next 4 years, given that Giannis essentially decides to stay, which seems a little bit more likely now. But
100%.
But yeah,
I agree.
so
And then I think if they don't, like if they don't get, I think they got to get 2 out of the next 4. But if they don't get 1 out of the next 2, it's a terrible, like, oh my gosh, burn the Pfizer down.
yeah,
Well, I think, not one, not two, not three. I think this sets us up to get a few, a bit more over a 10-year span. If we're looking long term of like, if we're Tim Duncaning Giannis's career and stretching that man out and making sure that man gets his rest and doesn't need to exert too much energy by getting players like this, by getting players of like, a superstar caliber, then I think his career is extended by years. Like now that we do this now, that's a lot less of a load that he has to take. Not saying that the grind of a full NBA season isn't going to be there, but he's expected to do far less because now the weight is kind of shifted. So
yeah. Hopefully that extends his career. I think it should. Shifting a little bit. So obviously Jrue got traded to Portland, and the immediate story was that Portland was going to move him to a contending situation. Obviously, Portland is really guard heavy, and they like their young guard core. So Jrue ultimately ends up in Boston. We knew this was one of the places that was kind of on his radar. I think a lot of people from a basketball perspective thought this made the most sense. I know I'm in that community, and so that's ultimately what ends up happening. What does it mean for Jrue to go to the Celtics? Does this make them a better shot at, getting to the finals and being the team out the East than Milwaukee? And how do you think Jrue fits with a duo like Tatum and Brown? Because I think
he helps them a lot.
It's different because when Jrue came to Milwaukee, depending on how you want to look at it, like what basketball perspective you want to have, you can make an argument that Jrue is the second best player on the team. Depending on how you want to look at the game, right? Or at least the second most valuable. I don't think that necessarily could be argued.
They're getting a good left hand down there in Boston. They need it.
So when he goes to Boston, though, I think that it's very clear that he's a third option. I think Jrue is best as a third option, at least offensively. But yeah, how much does that move the needle, I guess, is the overall question. Jrue being in Boston and though that at least being the kind of the sole competitor at the top from a depth standpoint, or at least from a firepower standpoint, with Milwaukee in the East.
I think it helps him tremendously. Like I'm not gonna knock Jrue. And like I said, I knew we was gonna touch on it. I'm not gonna act like what we lose in him is just something that you can sweep under the rug, because it's not. Jrue is, and guys in the league have said it, Jrue is, if not the best perimeter defender in the league, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Amazing playmaker, gives you everything he's got. So I think that level of I've been a champion, that's something that they really needed. Like does anybody on Boston have a ring? Like, do they have somebody that's been through that gauntlet? That I know what it takes to get over those humps. We've been there, we've gotten there, but I know what it takes to get over it. So that presence that he brings to the locker room, I think he's from a skill perspective, from a basketball perspective, he's just a better version of Marcus Smart. And we saw how far they could get with Marcus Smart.
Yep.
I think from a cohesive standpoint, I think they're gonna have to figure some things out in their offense, because even what we've seen from Tatum and Brown has been your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. How are you gonna fit Jrue in that?
Because he's gonna be like, my turn, 20 seconds on the shot clock.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Quickly.
I get what he brings to them on defensive end. Like he definitely makes them a lot better defensive. From a perimeter standpoint, because I'm not gonna slouch on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on the defensive end either. Like they got 3 guys, you could switch all them 1 through 3. Like easily. Everybody can go guard the same person. So I think that makes them really, really good. But their offense, and then you bring Porzingis in, and I get it. He's big. He can stretch the floor for you, space some things out, kind of like how Brook does, a rim protector too. But if it's all predicated on him being healthy, that's a big stretch for y'all. When they lost both Williams, like if they could have kept one of them,
man,
it makes them a lot scarier. Like I'm not, you could toss up which one you say you wanted, but even if you could keep one of them, that makes you so much better. The fact that y'all lost both,
it's tough.
It's very tough. I will have to go look at their actual roster, but I think who are the only bigs they have on roster now? Is it just Porzingis and Al Horford? Is Blake still over there? I don't know. But
Blake Griffin is there.
He is
Blake.
He might be retiring. I have no clue. He might be doing comedy now.
Yeah, I have no idea. But if your only big bodies are Al and Porzingis, and one has
scared.
a history of being injured,
and one's aging.
He was out when the Kardashians got started.
So I think that what they is really tough. And then I'm not saying that it's going to cause any friction, because I don't think he's the friction type player. I haven't heard anything. But even just being a basketball player, like when they traded Marcus Smart, it was Derek White is going to be the starting, point guard.
Yep.
Now, what are you going to do with your lineup? Are you planning to go small? Are you going to go Jrue, White, Brown, Tatum, Porzingis? Or are you starting both Al and Porzingis? And then obviously the only option you can bump down is Derek White. Jrue not coming off. We know Tatum or Brown not coming off the bench. So again, it could be like peanut butter. It can all be smooth, but I'm just saying that from a standpoint of that could be something that they have to figure out. Like when we got Dame, it was nothing that we had to figure out. Like we just got to figure out how we gonna play. Like we don't have anything schematic to. We know Dame is about to be our starting point guard.
Yep.
we know all of this. They still have to figure all those things out. So I think the East is a two-headed race. I think that it made them like that. Like I don't think that trade puts them better than us in a better position, but I can see the Eastern Conference Finals being Boston, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I think it puts them in a position to win. Like if they play their best, I think that they can compete with us. I just think that if we put our best and their best, our best is a little better. It's just a matter of, are we going to be at that best? Are we going to reach that potential? You know what I'm saying? So I like it for them. I like it for them.
I personally think it helps them 100%. But I think this offseason, they lost a lot of quote-unquote Giannis stoppers, and they made up with it by getting Jrue, for sure, because I think Marcus Smart was the first domino where I was like, damn, that's not good for them. Porzingis was the return, but I'm not afraid of him and what he does to our defense, because we have enough bigs that I think they would nullify whatever he brings to the court. And if we needed to, we could put Giannis there, and that also nullifies it. Bucks bias incoming, but I think that they lose a lot of depth in this offseason compared to what we have now, because that was all they talked about last year, where it's like, oh, Boston's depth is way better than Milwaukee's and yada yada, and now they traded for Jrue, and then depth doesn't matter all of a sudden, and now it's like, oh, that is what got them over the hump to Milwaukee. It's like we have a full bench of guys that we could play whenever. Their seventh best is Peyton Pritchard, like, and I know that.
And I guess I don't know if it crossed your head. Is Gallo's going to be healthy this season? Is Gallo walking in the season?
I don't think he's there.
Washington.
See? Yeah. And I didn't even see.
So it's like everything they talked about, where it's like, oh yeah, we have like the best bench. Now it's like, where? And your starting five still isn't better than our starting five. Like Celtic fans are like, oh, this matchup is delicious. Like, and it was Chris and Tatum and Pat and Brown, and I'm like, I'm not moved. Like there are schematics, there are adjustments. Like we can, bring whoever off the bench to defend, and then we're cool. Like you didn't circle Dame and Giannis on their positions because they're cooking whoever they're seeing on the court. Like I'm not moved. I think the pieces that left are, Grant Williams plays good defense. Although, like, he got cooked by Jimmy, and now it's like he's a scapegoat for their offseason woes. It's like, I don't know. I don't think the issue ever lied in them. I think the pairing of Tatum and Brown isn't as complimentary as people think. It's still a lot of give and take. Like one guy has a good game, the other might not. They're essentially playing the same position and trying to squeeze milk out of a stone that they might not be able to. Like, and I think that on an offensive skill set level and like how the offense will run, I think when you run Dame and Giannis, you're going to get a lot more out of that than running Brown and Tatum on the court, where it's just like, what you're going to get already. I still see us clearing Boston in a series. Not saying that it's going to be easy by any means, but I think talent-wise we top them, and I think still bench-wise we are clearing them easily too. So I don't know. It was a good move. I think Jrue is a great piece for them, but I still don't think it's enough to overcome what we did currently. So
I agree. I think it was one of those moves that they had to make. We can be honest. Like
saying like, hey, we did something.
Like if you let Dame go to Milwaukee and you lose Smart, you lose both them Williams, and you go in with Derek White as your starting point guard, and Tatum and Brown and Porzingis just supposed to be able to hold it down. Yeah, like
drowning.
Yeah. So you had it's like you had to make this move. You had to get something to offset it. So
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that's not Miami saying that.
Right.
You got to do something. Come on now.
So it was one of those moves that our enemy made a move, so we had to. So we have to see if it's enough at this point.
As far as Boston, I think Boston used to scare me a little bit more because the Bucks were so limited offensively. I was like, I love where we are defensively, but we cannot win if our half court offense looks like this. We cannot win if we can only play through Giannis. We just can't. Not when we get into the playoffs. So that's what worried me about Boston. And it also worried me that Tatum has kind of had our number defensively for whatever reason the last couple of years. Like nobody can guard him. I don't know what it is. Like he always seems to really be in rhythm against us.
He get up for Milwaukee.
As he should though, because he's playing Giannis and he's chasing Giannis. So it makes sense. The move for Jrue, I think you said it best, Akers, is like my enemy made a move, so I need to make a move.
Yep.
I think it makes them better because of your point, Gail. When you think about, okay, I lost Smart, both Williams, and Brogdon, and I brought in Porzingis and Jrue, essentially. It's not an equal trade-off. And Porzingis is a major what if. This is a huge he
was a unicorn like 4 years ago, and now it's like, every team he's gone to hasn't seen,
And they're outside of full roster construction, even in their potential starting five, it's just a weird. It's just
that's the second time he's done that, bro.
But
I tried to let it go the first time.
The first time I did what?
I'm ignoring it.
I didn't see it.
It's a weird. I think like Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, and Horford is a weird, big ass, like odd combination on the court. Like it doesn't seem like a lot of spacing. It does because both of them, like both Horford and Porzingis, can play on the outside, but I think that's pointless. I think it will be pointless for them to run some type of 5-out scheme. It just would be weird.
I think in the league we in is I can almost see where kind of the old heads is the loading up thing messes things up because sometimes teams try to overcompensate.
Yeah.
I think what they did with Jrue is that like we have to get somebody that's more talented. But like Dame makes everybody's job easier on the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does, and I'm not saying that they don't, like, of course, okay, it makes Tatum's easier. Like, okay, you don't have to guard the best perimeter player. I could do that for you. You kill the offense. Amazing. But do they cover each other's bases how we can all cover each other's bases now? Like, I think as a third option goes, like I think Middleton having to be a third option and Jrue having to be a third option, I think Middleton's the better third option.
Yeah.
Because Middleton has been a second and in closing times of them finals, the first option.
Here's
you telling me that his job goes to operating off of other two guys and he can score every way possible. I'm not saying he does it the best, but Middleton can score every way possible. He can get to the cup. He's got the bitty. He can hit the three ball, and his free throws are money. So when you telling me that you make Dame makes everybody's job easier, I don't think you can say that on the other end, because the difference is everybody on the Bucks makes Dame's job easier too. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if those things go vice versa when you talk about the Celtics.
So also of note, I don't think the Celtics, I think losing Smart and getting Jrue Holiday to stay out of the weeds of player versus player, I think you got the same player virtually, because Jrue doesn't bring. I don't think Jrue offensively clears Marcus Smart necessarily. Is he a better? I mean,
maybe
a little bit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's just like it's still going to be a lot of like Tatum. You'll still have to carry the load. You'll still have to show me you damn near going to average 30 in like a whole playoff run. You still gonna have to do it for y'all to get a chip for real. JB, you gonna have to average 25,
28,
25, 28 for y'all to do this. And I'm saying that also, I think the clock ticking on y'all, because another interesting thing about Boston, since Tatum's got there, like, because that was that first year Kyrie was there, they've been to the playoffs and almost have been to the conference finals just about every year since.
Yep.
And ain't been able to get over this hump.
And where's the talk about them being like perennial chokers and what all that? Because I mean, they've been there enough. And still he's only 19, but I mean, still
he can get the slack as much as he wanted to. But Steve, you hit it, and I think you said it beautifully that Smart and Jrue essentially on the court are a lot of the same player. I think what is kind of going, and I'll have to see it, is Jrue going to be okay being confrontational with Tatum and Brown the way Smart was? Because I personally think that made them better. When Marcus Smart went out there and was like, man, we got to swing that ball. It can't just be Tatum and Brown. I think that made them a lot better. So being that tough locker room presence, that bulldog, that I get us a tech if we ain't playing to our potential and we getting punked out here, I go get us this tech real quick.
Yo, that's when I thought they were blowing it up. When they traded Marcus Smart, I'm like, what are they doing? That is their heart and soul.
Who's that dog on that team now? You know what I'm saying? Like, we got those, and we got multiple guys. We got guys that'll talk that talk, that'll walk that walk. Like, I remember back in the completely unrelated, but remember when Blake and Giannis got into it, and he told him, he was like, yo, we can stop the game right now and we can fight. Like, we got those type of guys.
Mike Dunleavy
have that gritty, get in your face, talk that talk, push you back, you pushing us around type of cat. Even coming off their bench, like we got, like, okay, you messing with Giannis, we already know his brother will go out there and knock somebody out the air. But then you got Crowder, Dame will get to talking that talk with you. We done seen Dame go at rest and at Pat, so he'll get to talking that talk with you. Bobby will get to talking that talk with you. Like, we got guys that you don't mind walking down the alley with too.
How you gonna go through and gentrify your whole hood?
Who's that guy for Boston?
They don't
Because
have
that's not in Jrue's character. Jrue's a fantastic player, but Jrue not the type of guy that, you know what I'm saying, gonna push Embiid down if he's standing over Giannis or something like that. How Smart would. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not in his character. Is that in Tatum or Brown's character? I don't think so either. So who is gonna be that guy? When Giannis get to dunking on motherfuckers and he telling the crowd, y'all can't F with me. Who gonna say something back? Who gonna get in his face?
They better call Blake Griffin.
Okay. So that toughness factor that they lost is going. I think that's going to come to bite them in the butt a little bit.
I think their window is how long Al Horford's there. We've seen they've traded him away and they've got him back, and they're like, we need you to make this work. And once he's gone, God bless their souls. There's not a soul. His hacking ass is out. I don't know anyone that could foul Giannis like that. He's so crafty with that forearm to his back and to his gut. I never seen calls miss like that in my life. So once he's gone, Lord knows.
It forces, and I'm not saying that they're not capable defenders, but it forces Tatum and Brown to have to do. Like they can't not defend now. Like who? Yeah. Like okay, let's go potential starting lineups for potential starting lineups. You go Dame, whoever
Jrue.
We all got. No, I'm saying like if you go through the starting lineup, you obviously got Dame.
We know it's Dame, Chris, Giannis, Brooke. That last spot, I hope it's Marjan's by the end of the season. You could throw Jay Crowder there. You could throw Pat Connaughton there.
That spot's interchangeable, so let's just leave it there. But then you go to Boston, you go on Jrue. And I guess you could, like I said, are you going big or are you going small? They haven't.
You're going Jalen. You're going Tatum. You're going Porzingis. You're going Horford.
So if
you got Derek White off the bench, you got Peyton Pritchard off the bench.
If you're doing matchups, you're leaving. Y'all gonna leave Horford or Porzingis on Giannis 1-on-1 because you guys got to guard straight up now. It ain't no more. Oh, we could put Al there, and then we got somebody patrolling because we can leave off of this or that, or we can back off him and do this and that. Because once we back off him, he got to try to come downhill. We got this wall, we're good. You back off him now, and he got all them shooters out there. Y'all plan on just leaving Horford on that island?
That wall is looking weaker and weaker.
That's tough.
And they don't have any more muscle meat down there. They let all that go.
Have to guard that. You don't have a choice. And then, like I said, if you're gonna go small and put another shooter out there, and you take either Horford or Porzingis out, or like I said, and I don't wish injury on nobody. I want all the teams to be healthy, most cracking basketball. But seeing that he has a history of going down, say Porzingis is down, then you have to move Derek White into that starting line. That definitely forces Tatum to have to be with it. Like, are these guys capable of doing that all game now? I think it's tough. I don't think that. I think they are. I think, like I said earlier, I think the East is those two to lose. Like if anybody else was to come out of the East, I would be genuinely shocked. Scary.
Very, very, very
scary hours, boy.
Scary hours in the East. I'm excited for this season. But yeah, man, no, shop talk is gonna be like this. It's gonna be a lot of other topics. We all got basketball questions for days, so ain't no telling where the conversations can go. Honestly, might have to change it, bro. We might have to make the segment called Splitting Hairs because I feel like we should just bring.
I like that.
We should just bring the hard hitting questions where it's like we splitting hairs trying to figure out the answer here. You know what I'm saying? So we might have
be doing that.
That's tough.
Yeah,
you might have a point there.
You and this damn cone, bro. I'm gonna let you go because
I'm splitting hairs.
And on that note,
come on now.
We catch y'all next time.
Bars.
Appreciate you boys for having me, man. Always love stopping through.
Always. We'll catch y'all next time on the next episode of Shop Talk. Peace.